We're looking at a piece of hardware today that really tries to achieve the holy grail of interior design.
Oh, yeah.
High fidelity sound with, and this is the key, absolutely zero visual footprint. No boxes, no grills, nothing.
The dream.
It's the Kramer Yarden IH-1 hidden in-wall speaker. Now, usually when I see invisible audio, my first thought is, okay, we're sacrificing quality for looks. Physics needs a box to move air.
That is the fundamental conflict, isn't it? You want the sound to be heard, but the source to be completely unseen.
So what are we looking at for this deep dive?
We're pulling all our technical data from the product specifications and listing details over at HDTV Supply to see if Kramer actually pulled this off.
Okay, so let's start with the physical side. To hide inside a wall, you have almost no depth to play with.
Barely any.
The specs here say the mounting depth is just 5.7 centimeters. That's, what, about 2.2 inches? It fits, but that is tight.
It is. And that's where the engineering gets really clever. Since there's no room for a traditional cabinet, this is designed as an open back speaker for infinite baffle environments.
Which is just fancy talk for using the wall as the box.
Essentially, yeah. The wall cavity itself becomes the air spring. The whole goal is to stop the sound waves from the back of the driver from wrapping around and canceling out the waves from the front.
Right, phase cancellation.
Exactly. If you didn't seal it into the wall, the baffle, you lose all your low-end efficiency, just gone.
Okay, but my worry with using drywall as part of your speaker isn't just the air volume, it's vibration. Normal speakers use cones that push in and out. If you bury a moving cone in a wall, aren't you going to crack the plaster the first time the bass kicks in?
You would, 100%. That would happen with a traditional high excursion cone.
So how do they get around it?
That's why the Yarden IH-1 doesn't look like a normal speaker at all. It uses a polypropylene flat membrane.
So the whole flat surface vibrates?
The whole surface, like a flat piston. And to drive that without a massive magnet sticking out the back, they use a double magnet neodymium motor.
Ah, neodymium. That's how they get the power in a small package.
Right. It allows them to create a huge magnetic field in a tiny footprint. So you get enough force to move that membrane clearly without needing the depth of a big old ferrite magnet.
That explains how they get it flat. Now let's talk about what that does to the sound. The power handling is listed at 40 watts RMS, 90 watts continuous program. For a flat driver, that seems decent.
It's surprisingly efficient for this form factor. I mean, 40 watts RMS is your standard listening level. Think ambient music, dialogue.
And the 90 watts is for headroom.
Exactly. For dynamic spikes in music or movies so it doesn't distort. But you have to look at the frequency response to really see the trade-off here.
I saw that. It's listed as 120 hertz to 20 kilohertz. 120 hertz. That is, well, that's barely into the mid-range. You're losing the entire bottom end.
You are. And that is the compromise. That's what you trade for invisibility. The crossover is deliberately set to a high pass at 120 hertz. It just cuts off anything lower.
So these are basically satellite speakers.
That's the perfect way to think of them. They are engineered for clarity, for vocals, for mids and highs.
So if you install these thinking you're getting a full-range cinematic rumble...
Oh, you're going to be hugely disappointed. You absolutely need a separate subwoofer tucked away somewhere to handle everything below 120 hertz.
So the Yarden handles the invisible part, but the feeling has to come from somewhere else.
Precisely.
Good to know. Okay, installation. The source material mentions insert and drop brackets. That sounds like it's aimed at retrofits, not just new builds.
Definitely. It's designed to be intuitive. You cut the hole, you wire it, and the brackets just lock it against the drywall. It's pro-grade gear, the kind of stuff you'd find from Wolfpack or HDTV Supply for integrators.
Right.
But the installation itself is surprisingly forgiving for an existing home.
And speaking of sourcing, we have the pricing data from HDTV Supply, too. High-end architectural audio. That usually comes with a painful markup.
It often does, yeah.
Yeah.
But looking at the listing, the MSRP is $575. And the today's price is floating around $460.
Which, for a neodymium-driven flat membrane speaker, is actually pretty aggressive.
It is.
You're paying for the engineering to make it disappear, not just a brand name.
Exactly. You are paying for the solution to the aesthetics problem.
It really signals a shift in how we think about tech in our homes. We're moving from speakers as furniture to speakers as infrastructure.
That's the trend. The function is still there, the music is in the room, but the form just dissolves into the architecture.
It makes you wonder what's next. If speakers can melt into the drywall, what other obtrusive tech is going to vanish? Are we heading toward a living room where we own nothing but pure function?
Something to think about.
Something to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.